It's really important for authors to be able to get quotes from their readers to use in their book's marketing. But what happens when you ask your beta readers or your normal readers for quotes about why they liked your book and they basically send you back a summary of your book? Because that's not going to be functional as a quote to help market for your website, for your social media, for your sales pages. It's not going to be helpful if they're just kind of reiterating some of the points of the book. A quote, a blurb from these readers or other authors or whoever it happens to be, needs to be something functional that will allow other readers to decide if it's going to be a good fit for them. This goes across the board for all book reviews, whether it's just like a little quote that you're going to be using in marketing or a review for Amazon and BookBub and all of those places. A book review is helping other people make the decision that yes, this is a good fit for me. It's not about a person's opinion. It's not about a summary of the book. It is about giving the key points to help somebody make that decision on whether or not it's going to be a good read for them or not. So your quote needs to be functional and actionable. It needs to get people motivated to say, yes, this is for me, or nope, that one's not for me. I'm going to keep looking. So when it comes to getting those quotes, directly asking them is helpful. And you'll get something back, but you'll probably get more of a summary, or more so you'll have multiple people send you back little couple sentence summaries, and that's not going to be effective for you. So when you first reach out to these people, say, I would love a 3-sentence quote on why you enjoyed this book. And you can get more specific than that, because the more vague and open you are on this one, the harder it's going to be for them to know what to write. So if I came to you and said, hey, you read Virtually Sleeping Beauty, my Sleeping Beauty retelling, can you tell me the favorite thing, or can you tell me what was your favorite part about my main character, Rora? Now, all of a sudden, that's a question. Can you give me 3 sentences on why Rora was such an interesting character to you? That's going to be better than, can you give me a quote on this book? Can you tell me what it was about her that motivated you to be invested in her story? Now we're getting somewhere. You can get even more strategic about this and say, I'm looking for a 3-sentence quote, a sentence on what your favorite part of the book was, and now that can kind of get into summary territory. But if you then further explain it by saying why you were so captivated by this book, or why you felt like you had to keep reading without putting the book down, and who your favorite character was, now it's a little more detailed. So you can get in there and look for different things from different people giving you quotes. If I was working with beta readers on one of my books, I would say, okay, I need a quote on this. It can be 1 to 4 sentences. I'm going to be using this in my marketing. And I'm specifically looking for a quote on what it was about the main character that made you connected to this story, and give that to one beta reader. Then look at the second beta reader and say, okay, I am looking for a quote on why it was so interesting that I had digital dragons in this novel, and let that be their quote. Now you can use this in different realms of what you're doing inside of your marketing. So you can give them different focuses for the quote. You can even ask for more than one depending on who it is in your relationship to them. You could say, I need one quote about why you really liked this character. I need a secondary quote about why you think the ending was so surprising without spoilers. Whatever you want to do, you can ask for more than one thing. Now, if you have done something like that and they still come back with like a weird summary, you can say, I am so glad that you enjoyed this part of the book. I would love to go a little bit deeper with you on this. Can I get a follow-up quote on why this specific thing that you mentioned was so impactful to the story? You can come back and ask for more. You can come back and refine it. But you also need to remember, you don't have to use the entire quote. Oftentimes these people will come back with like a paragraph summary and maybe a little bit of opinion, maybe a little bit of something you can use. You can take part of that and use it in your market. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. If they come back with, I really like this book, 3 things that happened in the book, it was fast-paced and a great read. You have, I really like this book and it was a fast-paced, great read. You can use both of those. You can use either of those. You don't have to put the weird summary in the middle. You don't have to do it. The quote graphics that you make don't have to be big and long. They can be 1 sentence or part of a sentence from a person. I want you to think about places that you can pay to review your books, like Kirkus. Oftentimes, when you are paying a big name entity to review your book, they're going to give you a longer quote, and usually we find they're not too nice. Most of these people kind of trash your book. We've seen people give like really nasty things, but then have one sentence in there that does sound good. And most people, big name traditional publishers, authors, indies, everybody, ignores the bad and takes the one line of good. They even twist the one line of good. Like, I gave an example to somebody the other day of, well, this was a terribly paced book with characters that were not fleshed out at all, but this would be a good book for people who want to chill read. This would be a great book for people who want to chill read. Slap it on a graphic, and they use it as if it were a positive when it was really intended to be a negative. You'll see that again and again and again in this industry. If you look for the full reviews, you might be surprised what some of these big name entities are saying about some of the big name, super popular books. So you can take what's going to work and you can ask them for more. You can ask them to flesh it out a little bit. You can kind of work things together. And if you are kind of, reshaping what people have said, pull the things that you need and then say, I loved this. Thank you so much. This was my favorite part of this. Can I use this on a graphic like this? And show how you kind of cobbled some things together to form what might be a little more well-spoken of a review or blurb for you. And then just get the okay because you kind of picked pieces and cobbled them together. Just make sure that they're good with it. As long as they're good with it, you now have an effective quote from your book. So as you're doing this, don't be afraid to give specifications on what you need from them, to come back and refine it, to tweak things, and to try to kind of cobble together different pieces to form something that's going to be more effective while running it past them to make sure they stand behind what you have cobbled together from this. And the beauty of this is that they never have to know that you don't like it. Let's say they send you a quote. You can say, oh, thank you so much for this. Wait a couple of days and say, hey, listen, I need another quote on this specific topic. You did such a great job last time. Would you mind giving me another quote on this thing specifically, and get hyper specific with it? And they'll give you another one. You don't have to use the first one. It can just be there and not in use, and you can use it in different ways. So there's a lot of ways that you can kind of navigate your way around the very tricky space of getting quotes from beta readers or early book readers that you can use in your marketing. Always make sure, of course, you have permission to use their name, and I highly recommend that you ask for their photo to go with it as well, so that people can see, oh, a real life person with a real life face has said this real life thing about this real life book. Maybe I should check it out. It lends a little bit of authenticity and a little bit of a heightened truth to what they are saying inside of their quote. Now, we've talked a lot about quotes here on the channel. There's tons of other videos on this. We can talk even more about this, so go ahead and let me know what your questions are or what maybe some of your hangups or concerns are, so that we can get that adapted to you, to what you are doing to make sure you're getting quotes that are actually functional and effective for you, so that you can market your book a little bit better. And we'll see you in tomorrow's daily episode, helping you navigate the world of publishing, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing, to make this your most profitable and most fun author year ever, so you can live your best author life while also still having a life. We'll see you then.